All right, today we're tackling something called the Plutonomy paradox. It's a really fascinating concept that gets to the heart of a major puzzle in our economy today.
You know that feeling, right? You turn on the news and it's all, the stock market is soaring record highs. But then you look at your own bank account or talk to your friends and everyone feels, well, squeezed. So what's the deal? How can the market be doing so great when so many people feel like they're just treading water?
It's a huge question, and the answer isn't just some random fluke. It actually lies deep within the very structure of our economy.
And that brings us to this key term, Plutonomy. Now, I know, sounds a little academic, maybe a bit intimidating, but the idea behind it is actually pretty straightforward. Basically, it describes an economy where almost all the growth is both powered and consumed by a tiny, wealthy slice of the population.
And get this isn't just some fringe theory. The term actually gained traction from leaked economic reports that spelled it out in black and white. They said, and I'm quoting here, "We live in a plutonomy, where 10% of households are responsible for 50% of all consumer spending." Wow, that one sentence, that's the key to this whole thing.
I mean, think about that for a second. A tiny fraction of people driving half of all the spending in the entire economy? That is a massive claim. So let's really break down what that means in practice.
Okay, first up, let's look at who's really behind the wheel here, the so-called big spenders.
So here's that magic number, 10%. That's it, just 10%. I want you to burn this number into your brain because it is the key that unlocks this whole paradox.
And this chart just lays it all out, plain as day. Look at that. That one small slice, the top 10% of households, is responsible for a full 50% of all the money being spent. Meanwhile, the other slice, that's the bottom 90%, pretty much everybody else, is responsible for the other half. It's just a wild, completely lopsided picture of who's really fueling the economy.
Okay, so that's one side of the coin. Now let's flip it over and look at the financial reality for what we're calling the struggling majority. Yeah, because while that top 10% is out there spending, the data paints a totally different picture for the bottom 60%. We're talking about folks facing record low savings. That means no cushion, no safety net if the car breaks down or someone gets sick. And on top of that, many are just trying to get by, racking up high-interest debt on credit cards just to cover the basics.
So, let's put it all together. You've got these two completely different worlds existing at the same time. On one hand, you have the top 10% whose spending is so powerful it moves the entire economy. And on the other, you have the bottom 60% who are really feeling the pressure with low savings and high debt. It just doesn't seem to add up, right? How can both be true?
Well, let's connect the dots. It's time to solve this paradox. Okay, so here's how it works step by step. Step 1. All that spending from the wealthy, it pumps a ton of money into corporate profits. We're talking luxury brands, high-end travel, all that stuff. Step 2, when companies make huge profits, guess what happens? Their stock prices go up. And that leads to step 3. The big headline numbers we all see, like the Dow Jones or the S&P 500, they're reflecting that top-tier activity. And that creates this illusion that everyone is doing great.
So this isn't just some interesting economic theory. This really matters. Let's talk about why. All right, so what's the bottom line here? What are the big takeaways? First, our idea of economic health can pretty much be dictated by a tiny, wealthy group. And that leads to point number 2. A strong stock market does not automatically mean everyone is doing well. And maybe the most important takeaway of all is this. The real, everyday financial struggles of the majority of the population, they can be completely invisible in the big economic numbers we hear about on the news.
And that really leaves us with one big, important question to chew on. If the way we measure our economy is mostly reflecting the reality of a very small group at the top, then what are we missing about the lives of everyone else?